I'm Allie Cartwright, and this is Q and Allie. You have questions, and I have insight. This week, we are talking about our egos and why our ego is not our enemy. So the ego gets a really bad rap. We talk all the time about ego in a very, very negative way, how it gets in our way all the time. But the thing is that we're really kind of unfair to our ego, and we don't really take into consideration what its role is. So the easiest way for me to explain intuition and ego, and I mostly want to focus on ego, but I have to talk about intuition a little bit so that you can really see the difference, is, okay, we're all made up of energy. Scientific fact, say it all the time, everything is made up of energy. When you break it down, we're all one part of one big collective group of energy. Everything is connected, everything is one, we're all 100% energy. Okay, so in that sense, there is no separation. It's all one. We're all connected. Now, on the flip side of that, obviously, you have a sense of self. You have a separation, a distinct identity within this collective whole, right? So your intuition is connected very strongly to the sense of the whole. It's connected to the energy grid and your part in the grand scheme of things. It has no issues with death or fear or anything like that, because it doesn't really see it the same way we do, because energy cannot be destroyed. It just changes form. So if you die, you're still part of the collective whole. Your energy is just moving on from this physical form. Anyway, your ego is your connection to your sense of self, your personal identity within this whole collective energy grid. Okay, so your intuition is connected to the whole, and your ego is connected to your sense of self. Now, the biggest role that your ego plays is actually protecting you, trying to keep you alive and kicking so that you can keep experiencing things. So when a lot of people talk about not knowing how to tell the difference between when something is their intuition and when something is their ego. A big clue is whether or not what you are experiencing is fear-based. Because, like I said, intuition doesn't really have a sense of fear, but your ego does. Your ego wants to keep you alive. And it is going to be very, very reactionary and paranoid about that. So, back in ancient times, we had a lot more direct threats to our physical health, dangers, and now not as many. So this gives our ego a lot of time to worry about how perfect you are at existing. And I hope that makes sense, because it's this thing of, I feel like one of the ways our ego gets in our way the most is by shutting us down when we get uncomfortable with like debating things, talking about ideas and who believes what, and facts and figures and all of that, and how things can be changed up, and you can kind of bend facts to fit your bias and all of that. So your ego really gets wrapped up in that, all of that. And there's this fear that has been drilled in that if you're not perfect at presenting your case and convincing everyone else of your perfection, that somehow it's going to be like mortal peril for you. And this is all on a very subconscious level, but you know that it's true based on any time you've experienced this thing of where you felt just guttural fear about voicing your opinion because you feared being misunderstood, you feared backlash, you feared looking stupid, you feared being proven wrong. And so, but we can't abolish our ego because we need it to keep us safe. We really do. What we can do, though, is grant awareness to the fact that our ego is important and what it does for us, and really, really work on trying to mindfully align our ego with what we know is our truth. So like, you know that you're safe to say something, and if someone gets mad at you for it, it's okay. I mean, obviously there's extreme cases where people have been killed for saying something, but mostly if you're talking to someone about something you disagree about, you are safe. You're safe to have your opinion. You're safe to be wrong. You are safe to change your mind. And so that's what I want to focus on this week, is really, really focusing in on just working with your ego, allowing it grace, and trying to teach it the things that it doesn't need to worry about. So let's talk about how to work with our ego this week, starting with our meditation moment. This week's meditation moment is an affirmation meditation, and it basically is just really trying to set that truth into your psyche, and really allowing your ego to learn and embrace the fact that it's okay and you're not in mortal peril a lot of the time that it thinks you could be. So in the meditation moment, we are repeating silently or aloud, my thoughts are safe, my words are safe, my body is safe, I am safe to grow. And this is really important. That last one is really, really key, because a lot of times we think we have to be perfect, and that if we're not perfect, it's dangerous. But the truth is that none of us are perfect. Perfect doesn't really exist. We literally have to make mistakes. We talked about this last week. We have to make mistakes in order to learn and grow. So we got to train our ego that it is safe to learn and grow. This week's mindful moment is very much in the same vein. We are going to just really take time to notice when we feel defensiveness rising up, fear over being imperfect. We're just going to, anytime we notice it, we're going to take a really nice, deep breath and just remind yourself to be open to learning and growing, because it is safe. And it's the only way to break out of this reactionary thing of your ego just jumping in to protect you from danger, is to say no to it. And you don't have to be mean. Just think of your ego as like a little kid who, in like cardboard armor, who really, really, really wants to protect you. And just let it know you're okay. All right, so for the mantra moment this week, I wanted to do something a little bit different than the meditation moment, which also utilized affirmation. So I thought we'd take this time to remind ourselves that we are this one detail in the whole. There's this beautiful collective whole that we get to be a part of that connects us to everything in existence, and that's gorgeous. And we are this beautiful, beautiful detail within that web of life. So I am a beautiful detail in the web of life. You can repeat that as many times as you want. You can do a certain number of times. You can do a certain amount of time. You can just do it as many times as feels right to you. It really doesn't matter. Traditional is 108. You can get mala beads, many places that traditionally have 108 counter beads on them. But really, it's whatever feels right to you. I hope that this has given you a little bit of clarity on your ego and why it is not really your enemy, just a little misguided and in need of help. Again, I'm Allie Cartwright. This is Q and Allie. And if you have any questions that you would really like to see answered on another episode, be sure to send them in to submissions@alliecartwright.com. Until then, live fully, laugh lots, and love yourself.